Hello, my friends. So I wanted to answer another one of my viewers' questions. This question comes from Patricia Patty Pat. Greetings. First off, I want to say I admire you and respect and watch all your videos, so I hold your opinion in high regard. I have learned so much from your videos. I have a question. Okay, to be respectful towards those who have been initiated into a Wiccan tradition, I have been told countless times only those initiated in a coven can call themselves legit Wiccans. I have had great difficulty in defining my path without being out of line. Okay, my path as a solitary pretty much is Wiccan in beliefs and the way I conduct my life. But I am solitary and not initiated. So what is the best way to describe myself without causing problems with those that believe only those initiated into Wicca are Wiccan? I am basically Wiccan in how I set up my altar and view the wheel, and basically I follow all the basic tenets of the Wiccan religion without the added element of a tradition associated with it. Should I just say I am eclectic pagan and let it go as such, or is there any foundation to stand on calling myself an eclectic solitary Wiccan? Or should I say non-initiated Wiccan? I really would like to see some sane teaching on this. I have been Wiccan-like since '97. And still am confused. I have never had the opportunity for initiation, so where does that leave folks like me? Thank you for your time, and really, these are not trick questions. I have had a hard time trying to figure this out. I want to be respectful in my path and really don't want to step on anyone's toes, but would like something to base my path on. Thank you, Patricia Patty Pat. I have to admit, I am amazed I have people watching my videos. When I first came onto YouTube, I really did it as a social experiment, mainly because I am an introverted and shy person. Putting myself on YouTube for anyone to judge and comment on my videos was a terrifying experience. The very first time I hit that upload button was scary, but I digress. It means a great deal to me to have you say that you admire and respect me and hold my opinion in high regard. That really means a lot to me, and it is my promise to you and all my other viewers that I take time to provide you with informative and accurate information as possible. And please, if you find I make a mistake or give the wrong information, let me know. I am all for constructive and corrective criticism. It really speaks to the quality of your character that you want to be respectful to other people and their practice, and I admire this quality in you. The label of Wicca encompasses a very wide and diverse population of individuals, and each individual will hold a belief and interpretation of exactly what Wicca is. Now, on with your question. First off, let me tell you that this is my opinion based on my own experience of practicing Wicca for 30 plus years. I do not speak for all Wiccan, and all Wiccan may or may not agree with my opinion. First off, my definition of Wicca comes from a more traditional belief, specifically what we in America call British traditional Wicca. Several of my friends and myself formed a coven in 1986 based on two books, The Witch's Way and 8 Sabbaths for Witches, both by Janet and the late Stuart Farrar. At the time, I was witness to the initiation of a couple who became my high priest and high priestess, and witnessed their elevation. Later, I was initiated and then elevated to the 2nd degree, all within a 2-year period. For years, I considered myself an Alexandrian witch because what we practiced was labeled as Alexandrian in the Farrar's books. When the coven broke up and the high priest and high priestess separated, I continued to practice solitary, slightly changing and making my practice fit a solitary format. I considered myself legit for years, until later when I was told by someone that I had to be initiated into a lineage coven to be considered an Alexandrian. So I changed my label to Celtic Wicca, based on an Alexandrian framework. I was torn between feeling that I was not being accepted by other Wicca and feeling that I really did not give a fuck what someone else thought about my practice. Regardless, I left my original path of the quasi-Alexandrian label and self-dedicated myself into a unique practice which I called Ankovenskata, which became my own. I felt a strong desire to worship the old gods, and I dedicated myself to them, and I immediately dropped any concern for what others thought of me and my practice. I wanted a way to worship the old gods, and I found it. This was all that was important to me. In Doreen Valente's book, Witchcraft for Tomorrow, she writes on page 22, "Many people I know will question the idea of self-initiation as given in this book. To them, I will address one simple question: who initiated the first witch? The decision is really up to the individual. But whichever way you decide, be sure of one thing. You have a right to be a pagan if you want to be. This right is guaranteed to you by Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to which Britain is a signatory. In America, we have a similar declaration under the First Amendment. Later, in What Witches Do, the Farrar's write on page 245, if you want to become a practicing witch, in both the religious and the craft sense, and have no way of joining an existing coven, you should first study the basic philosophy of Wicca and be sure inside yourself that you are in tune with it. If the answer is a genuine yes, you can do one of two things. The first is to take a very simple system of ritual and practice and to work with it until you feel thoroughly at home with it. The second way is to take the whole structure of an established Wiccan system and to work from that. Patricia Patty Pat, it sounds to me like you have already done this. You may have noticed that I use the term self-dedication, and Valiente and the Farrars use the term self-initiation. This is because I feel there is a completely different experience of dedicating oneself to the old gods and being initiated into a mystery tradition. I would not want to rob anyone of this experience. Later, I did join a coven of which I am part of today. I am a Gardnerian of the California line, and I am incredibly proud to be part of such a rich lineage. As for who has the right to call oneself a Wiccan, as I mentioned in a previous video, Wicca today can be broken into 4 unique categories that almost all traditions fall into: initiatory and non-initiatory, group and solitary. There are initiatory groups, initiatory solitaries, either in a group and have their own practice, or they're between groups, they were initiated and still practice on their own. But BTW Wicca is designed as a group practice. There are non-initiatory groups, and finally there are non-initiated solitaries. If you are a solitary and not initiated, not self-initiated, then you are a non-initiated solitary. Simple as that. In conclusion, if you want to worship the old gods, by all means, nothing can stop you, and how you do so is your business. If you want to use a Wiccan framework to achieve this and you feel in tune with it, by all means, self-dedicate yourself and call yourself a Wiccan. I must say that a clumsy and impromptu speedy initiation by me and my friends in 1986 was a unique experience. My self-dedication ritual was another unique and very different experience. And finally, my initiation into the craft of the Wicca was a completely different experience. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, and blessed be.